The following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 195. What are they going to talk about now? It's the Coach's Box. Call it like we see it. I'm Jim Powers. He's Chris Miller. No, he is not in a car this week. He is here live.
Jim, I would not be in a car and doing streaming. That's illegal and frowned upon.
We don't believe it illegal.
No, absolutely not.
Zach's on vacation. Jarvis is coaching summer league, and Kevin,
coaching softball for his kids. It's being a good day.
There it is.
Yep, there were some rainouts. Otherwise, he would be available.
Right.
But, yeah.
So, and by the way, I know we're a little late, but happy Father's Day to all the dads out there from this past weekend. Hope everybody was able to spend some great quality time with their dads and all that kind of great stuff. But Chris, before we get started, you were out in Kansas City last week, and you'll be out there again this week for the Coaches Association, the contact tournament or showcase, whatever they're calling it now. But you guys got to see a lot of great girls basketball last week, and the boys' side is going to be really, really loaded up this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the pleasure of helping work it. It's not like you just sit there and watch basketball. You're running the table, you're checking coaches in, you're charging admission. So we're doing all kinds of stuff. But I will tell you this: the home field complex out in Kansas, right outside of Kansas City on the Kansas side, is probably one of the nicest places I've ever been to, as far as a sports complex is concerned. That's not a professional or a college actually, ran thing. There's 10 courts. There's no volleyball or anything out there, but it is absolutely geared towards those kids. It's amazing. I can't say enough about it. It is so cool. And yeah, we got to see a lot of great girls basketball out there, a lot of great teams. And it's a D1 showcase for the Midwest. It's not just Missouri. There's Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa, and they're all there playing each other. Got to see Incarnate play some schools. Someone actually beat them.
That was the topic of conversation on Saturday evening, and they played Millard West. And for anybody that knows anything about basketball in Nebraska on the high school side, Millard West is probably the incarnate word of Nebraska, so to say. And they are loaded. They are really good. And it's crazy, to see that. But yeah, I mean, that's what the summer showcases are all about.
We had 70 plus coaches ranging all the way from, say, like Maryville and some of our NAI or D2 schools, all the way to Duke, Oklahoma State, Kansas was there, Mizzou was there, and those coaches are there scouting some serious talent. I saw some really, really good girls basketball players that I'm definitely going to be seeing play at the next level at a D1 school. There's some great talent out there, and I can't wait to see how much the talent that we're going to have. I do have to give a quick shout out. Corey Elms is the one who put this together. She's the head coach out at East Buchanan High School, and she did an amazing job between her and Chris Nemo and Chris runs the boys' side, but they both help each other. And it is very well ran, and they did such a fantastic job for putting this together for kids and what they're getting a chance to basically have their skills showcased.
And then the boys this weekend, let's see. All the heavy hitters are going to be there this weekend. You got, I know Vashawn's going out there. I mean, Vianney's going to be out there. I mean, it's just going to be an unbelievable weekend of boys basketball out at the same complex.
Yeah, and last week, I mean, the girls' event is still growing, and I look for it to even jump even more than what it was this year. There's 10 courts that are out there, and there's obviously things going on at the same time. So half of them were being used by the girls. I was told that all 10 courts are going to be used for the boys' side. So I would say there's going to be a lot of really, really good basketball being played. And there was last week, and there's going to be again this week.
And there'll probably be a few coaches hanging out there, maybe a few D1 coaches.
What I like about it is it's what we've been talking about too, why the AAU and the select teams have the advantage on the college coaches. They all play in one spot over a weekend, and coaches get a chance to see this. This is a 3-day event, and they're staying or they're coming in and staying a couple days and getting a chance to see these kids play. Now, you have the opportunity to do that with your high school team, and these are high school teams. It's not just all the kids getting together and playing, and they've done
allegedly.
That. Yeah. Well, no, and it's cool too because we have a 30-second shot clock that's being used.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that in talking to the other coaches who ran it, we only saw, I think, a total of 6 shot clock violations in 3 days. So there was a lot of, the shots are getting up and there wasn't any issues with it. The kids adjusted to it, coaches adjusted to it, obviously. And I mean, if it ever happens, it ain't going away. I'll put it like that. Most of the schools that are coming from out of state, they've already played with them or have them.
No doubt about it. So great weekend out there. And that's going to lead us into our first topic. NBA is over with.
Well, the NBA season is over with because we still have the draft coming up. And the draft is always a topic of conversation.
And we're going to get into that here in a minute.
As Jim alluded to, our hometown boy, Jayson Tatum, went ahead and just put the nail in the coffin with the Mavericks and closed out his first NBA championship. And, I got to say, I'm not a big Celtics fan. I know Jason feels the same way, but we always root for the hometown kids. And look, as the title says, I don't know what else you can say about Tatum. I mean, it's every excuse in the book. Obviously, it's the second time making it to the finals. He ran up against the Golden State dynasty and lost their first one. And everybody, questioned him and questioned everything, and that's fine. But, man, I don't know what you can say now. I really don't.
Well, I mean, what people, the other part of it, too, is they lost last year in the Eastern Conference Final, and that kind of put a little bit more pressure on, Jason and how they're going to go. Then all of a sudden, you've got this alleged rift between him and his backcourt mate, Brown. And, it's just, the media I think they just reach for stuff.
No.
Just trying to find stories and all that. But, you got to look at what Jason's done. And somebody put this statistic up on Twitter, and it was, you look at the career he's had, and, let's remember, it's a very young career so far. And you look at what he has done, and it's just absolutely phenomenal that he was finally able to get the monkey off of the back and win that first title. Because I'm telling you right now, and what everybody's going to remember too, they did it without Porzingis as well for the last 3 games, I think it was.
Yes,
because he got hurt again. When he came back after not playing in literally almost all the playoffs up until game 1 and game 2 when he got hurt. This team is loaded, and I think Joe Mazzola is one of the most underrated coaches in the NBA. You know, the job he did in, you know, trying to figure out, you know, how you get the basketball to Tatum, how you get Porzingis, how you get the Brown. I mean, there's not on normal teams, there's not enough basketballs around to get it spread around to those dudes. But you know what? They won as a team. And I thought Jason handled not getting the MVP, which I think is a farce. He should have been the you know, the championship MVP without a doubt. I mean, he averaged a double-double in the 5 games of the playoffs, you know, double figure scoring, double figure rebounds, was averaging around 8 assists a game, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Jason did everything that they asked him to do, that he needed to do. And you're exactly right. His 30 put the nail dead in the coffin of the Mavs. And the Mavs are a good team. I like Jason Kidd as a head coach. I think, you know, he's one of those rare guys that played at a high level in the NBA and has been able to come in and coach. And I think Jason Kidd's done a really great job with the Mavs. And you know, and another local tie with the Mavs. Remember Clea Collier, who, you know, used to run the Surge. She's now in the front office down with the Mavs and doing some terrific things. So a shout out to her in her role with the Mavs. But this Mavs team is going to be around for an awfully long time. I think, you know, the NBA, I don't watch very much of it during the regular season, and I'm the first to admit it. I'm not an NBA guy. I don't like the individualism. I don't like the lack of team play offensively and all that stuff. But when you see what is taking place right now, especially with Boston and some of the other teams, you've got to really like what they're doing and how they're going about their business. And I'm telling you, this Boston team is going to be loaded for the next couple years. They could go on a really, really incredible run if the front office and Brad Stevens, and that's the other thing too. What about the job that Brad Stevens has done? I mean, coach, then he moves into the front office as director of basketball ops and keeping that ship afloat. And then somehow you get Porzingis to come in. I mean, Brad Stevens is not getting nearly the amount of credit as he deserves. And he honestly should be the executive of the year in the NBA with the job that he's done.
I think you hit the nail on the head on a few things, Jim. Number one, Tatum has been accustomed to winning because the Celtics he was drafted 3rd overall. And the Celtics got that pick in a series of moves that started out with being a pick from the Kings that went to the Sixers, that went to the Celtics. And it wasn't the Celtics that had a terrible season the year before they got him. They were really good. Stevens was the coach, and they drafted him, and he found his footing, and all of a sudden took him a couple years, and next thing you know, this guy, like, hey, wait a minute, this guy is pretty good. By the time he's 21 years old, don't forget, he's 25. He's 25, he's been in the league for 7 years. So he has a very, very well-established career right now already. And he doesn't even have to pick up a ball the rest of his life, and he's done great. The Celtics have, again, you were right about Brad Stevens. Stevens put this whole thing together. He went from the coach. He kind of does a Red Auerbach thing, except Auerbach wins a few championships here and there, and moves in the front office. Again, the guy who took Butler to the NCAA finals twice and lost. Well, the one game was close. The other one was not. But, you survived the whole Udoka situation. The coach who actually took the Celtics and Tatum to the finals in 21-22. And you find Missoula. And I was very... I don't know. I was kind of like, man, this guy seems a little odd because he's just an odd dude. He doesn't talk a lot in the media. Dude.
Yeah.
But I think he handles the media extremely well. So I think he's done a fantastic. Don't forget the Celtics won 64 games this year. They won 64. I mean, that's nothing to just go, they're okay. That's pretty good. 64-18. When the NBA record is 73-9. So they only lost 9 more games than the best regular season team, which was the Golden State Warriors, ever. So that's pretty good. And obviously Tatum has a big part of it, Brown has a big part of it. They're both really good. I think Tatum should have been the Finals MVP. I can say that without any bias in the world. Any. No doubt about it whatsoever. And yeah, you're right. Putting together the staff of guys that the most unselfish group, you can tell that they were on a mission. They were
without
on
a doubt.
They were on a mission to get to the finals and to win it. So that's their second time in 3 years of being in the finals. And then last year losing to the Heat in 7 games. A lot of people giving them a hard time about that. I can see why. Tatum, you're supposed to elevate the team. They didn't get it done. But man, I'll tell you what, this year you could tell that and I honestly, given the road through the Eastern Conference, I didn't think they were going to win. No way.
I'm going to tell you right now, I thought Indiana was going to give them fits just because of some of the matchups. And, and they ended up losing one. They lost game 2, and that was kind of their mantra during the whole playoffs. They'd win game 1 big, and then all of a sudden game 2, they can't get out of their own way. And I get that. I understand that. But I thought the way Indiana played in the playoffs, they were going to give them some fits. And, the Celtics were able to do it. I know a lot of people were like, close the thing out. I guarantee you they didn't care if they lost game 4 because they wanted to bring it back to, TD Garden and win it up there. And I'm okay with that. You know what? I know, the bettors weren't okay with that, but, that had the sweep. But, the bottom line is this team can quickly turn into something like we saw with the Bulls, that we saw with the Lakers, that we saw with the Pistons. If they can keep that core group together, get Porzingis healthy, and keep him healthy, I'm telling you right now, this team can win at least 2, if not 3 more over the next 5 years. And that's going to put them in those conversations with the Bulls and with the Lakers and the Pistons and even Golden State Warriors.
I think the big thing that's going to be them going forward. Obviously, they basically won this thing despite not having Porzingis. You're going to see a different team, I think, coming out of the West. I don't know if Dallas can add to. They can. They've got one of the better offensive players in the league,
right,
in Luka Doncic, but they had to get back through Denver and Denver or Minnesota, and both teams are going to be a little bit hungry to get their chance to play in the finals because, to be honest, any 3 of those teams could have been there.
Here's the thing:
Denver was good, and Minnesota was good, and Dallas just had that little run right through.
Dallas needs to have a long heart-to-heart conversation with Luka Doncic.
Oh man.
Okay. I mean, it's got to happen. I mean, the way he acts on the court, he's a terrific player. Yes. And I will not take that away from him in any way, shape, or form. But he's got to stop the stupid antics. You saw what happened in game 3. He's sitting on the ground, he's throwing his hands up in the air, and then he goes and rips the officials, during the post game, which I'm sure the NBA is going to assess a fine for that. I'm thinking they maybe waited till after the series was over with, but they need to get him under control when it comes to that stuff. And it's, what I say to, to our kids at Lutheran South, we just, we're playing all over, this summer, and we played down at Branson the other day, and, you know what summer league is, Chris. They let you beat up on each other.
They do.
And I just told the kids, you got to play through it. You got to battle through it. That's what Dallas needs to do when it comes to Luka. You're a great player. You're a star in this league, but the way you portray yourself sometimes, that is going to be your downfall, and it's going to be your detriment right now. So I think there's got to be that conversation, whether it's Mark Cuban, whether it's Jason Kidd, whether I'm not sure who their GM is right now, but you've got to reel him in. If you reel him in and get him concentrating on not what the officials are going to call, but what the game is all about, I'm telling you right now, he could lead Dallas right back into this situation. But you're right. Minnesota is going to be loaded again next year. Denver is really, really deep in every facet of the game. So the West is going to be really, really interesting. I think the East right now, honestly, if I had to rank it, I would probably say Boston, a clear number one by far.
Yeah.
You've got Indiana, who I think is going to be right there in the mix. I'll be interested to see who Cleveland hires as a head coach, because you've got a good nucleus with that Cavs team. I don't like how they threw in the towel for the last two regular season games to try and get that matchup with Miami in the first round of the playoffs. And they got pushed to the edge on that one. But, Donovan Mitchell is one of those players that could be a leader for a team. So the East, Boston is by far the best without any doubt. But I think the West, I agree with you 100%. The West is going to be the wild, wild West. It's going to be up for grabs. And, you could get 3-4 teams. I mean, you get Golden State where they can get some stuff figured out, get an infusion of some young blood. They could be a team that could make a little bit of noise.
I think the biggest problem, and again, it's the nature of the NBA salary cap. How do you add a player when you're already kind of cap strapped? Now you got to move guys who have guaranteed contracts or dead contracts and dead money. All three of those teams in the West are probably one player away from leapfrogging the other.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And the question is going to be, what kind of space can they free up, and who's going to be that person who comes in there and takes that spot and takes the money and helps them get over the hump. That's going to be the biggest thing moving forward with these other teams. Dallas the same way. Dallas one player away, I think, from being able to win the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
but they've got to improve. Look at the stat that rolled through after Game 3. And Doncic is his attitude. I don't know how many times I've said on the show, I love watching him. The thing I hate the most is his biggest problem. He sits there and bitches and moans at the referees.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I can't. If I'm an objective human being, after a while, I am not objective. I don't care who you are. Oh, now I'm looking for it. It's just gonna happen. I don't care if they're pros or not. Go call Natalie Sago and ask her what she thinks off the record. She is probably not going to be a big fan of someone sitting there pissing and moaning about every single call. And he had a 68% blow by percentage in the playoffs. All the games.
His defense was horrible.
He was so in basketball.
It was me going out.
Oh gosh. Go ahead.
It
Finish
was like,
that thought, Jay.
He's playing defense like I'm playing defense. He's playing defense like I played defense back in the day.
Jim,
and that was not existing.
Yeah. Woo.
I couldn't. And that's what I was getting.
So,
just saying.
So again, in basketball, I'm looking for a breakdown, especially the way the game is played with dribble drive motions and things like that. So if I break this guy down on this side of the court and the help defense has to stop, that means that we're playing 5-on-4. At the end of the day, now everybody's scrambling around, and you get the wide open three. You get all those actions that coaches are looking for because of the one breakdown that you're looking for. And if it happens early in the clock, man, you can move the ball around 7 times before you get the easiest shot available to you or draw a foul because the defense is so out of whack. He creates that, and the difference. And I'm watching the other games. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm watching the other games that the Dallas is playing in the playoffs, and it's like, why won't they attack him? Why aren't they attacking him? Nobody attacked him, and when they did, it was like, oh, see, success. But then they just went away from it. But Boston, who has one of the most brilliant basketball minds of my generation in the front office, and obviously a smart enough coach who probably does this stuff on his own and was. They're all like, this is what we're going to do, and they exploited it. So Luka's got to do a few things to improve his own game. Number one, he's got to shut his mouth. That's You don't have the sweat equity that Michael Jordan has to sit there and do that all the time. And it doesn't matter if it was Jordan, Kobe, anybody, they're going to tell you, shut up. Okay. That's what do we think of LeBron right now? He's a wine bag. We'll get to him in a little while. But, but what you haven't, it's like you just got here. Okay. Stop. Just stop, play, earn it. You'll get it later. Right now, he hasn't. Not in this league. I mean, he's been the MVP of the best European league in the world, but at the top level in Europe, but he is not here. So just relax, play it. I get it. You don't like it. Shut up and play. Then he's got to get better on defense, man. He cannot play like this and expect for them to have success, or they've got to find a bunch of dudes who are going to make up for him and find a way to hide him. And that's hard to do in the NBA. You can't hide. You can't hide because you can't play a true zone. You can play 1-2-2 as long as you don't get 3 seconds in the paint on offense, but you can't play a true zone. So he's got to do a lot better. They've got to do a lot better. I give Jason Kidd all kinds of respect. Milwaukee is dumb for firing him in the first place, but Milwaukee has a short-term history of being stupid with firing their coaches, along with some other teams, and that just shows you. I mean, I like it because I've always liked Jason Kidd. I always have. I've been a big fan of him. He's a team-first kind of guy. He elevated his team when he played. Obviously, he elevates his team as a coach, and you can only do so much with those guys, especially at that level.
Well, funny you mentioned coaching because, this is how stupid the NBA is. And I'm sorry. Again, it goes back to one of the reasons why I'm just not a big fan of the NBA. So Monty Williams takes over as the Pistons coach beginning of the year. Okay, They didn't have a good year. Okay, that's fine.
No, it was historically bad.
Yes. Okay, but
very bad.
You still give him a little bit of time. Oh no. Pistons fire him today, and now the Pistons got to eat a $65 million hit that they now owe him.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What in the absolute world are we doing? And apparently, they just brought a new director of basketball ops in, Trajan Langdon, who was hired a month ago. He's been meeting with Williams, but apparently the owner and the higher-ups are like, nope, we want him gone. We want him out. If anybody, who do you get to coach that 3-ring dumpster fire after you just whacked a coach who only had 1 year? And, I mean, I hate to say it, that's where professional sports is going. It's right. It's what have you done for me now? And what are you going to do for me now, or you're gone?
Right. Well, go ahead.
It just drives me absolutely insane that professional teams, and now where are you going to get $65 million at? Because now you're going to have to hire a coach, and that coach is going to want a lot of money. How do you pay both? I mean, it's stupid.
It's really dumb. And
thank you.
to elaborate on this, when they hired him, I mean, this is a guy who coached at Phoenix for I believe 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. He took the Suns to the NBA Finals, Western Conference champions. They won 51 games that year. The following year, they won 64. He was named NBA Coach of the Year. Last year, obviously, a little down year for the Suns. But again, when you have Kevin Durant, it's a slow erosion of life as you know it. And he just brings everyone down because that's who he is. Sorry, just the way it is. But Monty Williams is a successful NBA coach and has been as of recent. I mean, he coached the Hornets/Pelicans back in the day, and they sucked. Yeah. We're taking that one away. Just throw that away. He's been a coach in the league since 2005. So this is a guy who has experience. They hire him, and I like the way it was written up. They lure him to
because he was going to sit out this year.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to coach. His wife's got cancer.
Well, yeah, it just makes the story even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, because the Pistons are coming off another historically bad season where they were 17-65. So, hey, we're going to fire the guy we got. We're going to bring you in. They went 14-68 and lost 28 games in a row. Now, on the outside looking in, and this was kind of said on, and I was just reading some Twitter stuff. Like, I don't know what coach is going to survive losing 28 straight games, but the Pistons are a quintessential dumpster fire of a franchise. How the mighty have fallen, because when I'm growing up, the Pistons are pretty good. Chuck Daly, Isaiah Thomas, the Bad Boys, even in the 90s when, Isaiah's on his way out, you've got Sean Elliott, you've got Grant Hill, you've got some guys who can still play. They're competitive, and it just went into the absolute crapper. I mean, it is so bad. They got Taj Gibson on their team.
I know.
I thought that dude was dead. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, it's so bad.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now, Monty Williams is going to end up, and there's a lot of speculation flying around right now. LA, the Lakers, which we're going to get into here in a minute, or the Cavaliers. I would be totally fine with him coaching the Cavs because I think he would be able to work with Donovan Mitchell and some of that young talent that the Cavs have and kind of resurrect some of those things he did with Phoenix. I don't think he'd last with the Lakers because we all know who's running that organization right now, and it's LeBron, and we're going to get to that here in a second with the shenanigans going on with the upcoming draft next week. But he's going to end up someplace. And I guarantee you, he will make it his life's mission, number one, to live off that $65 million that he's collected off of those idiots. But number two, jamming it right. That's why I'm hoping the Cavs get him. Eastern Conference, same division. I'm going to jam it right up your butt, buddy. And I'm kind of hoping that plays out. I'm really hoping.
Man, that's just.
I didn't want to swear. I'm trying not to swear tonight. I'm trying to be good.
That's good. I appreciate it. Family show. I would never.
Family
do that.
show. I know you won't ever do that.
But
somebody thinks we're having a great show tonight. So thank you so much to Peak One Sports Network for saying that. We appreciate the boys.
We appreciate those guys tuning in. The Cavaliers. I mean, how do you fire Bickerstaff too? I mean, gosh, you said it. What are we doing with these professional athletes? You can only say it's so much of the coaches. Most of the guys who coach in the NBA have enough knowledge of the game to be coaching in the NBA. What do you got to do? You got to manage the egos, and then what? I mean, what do I got to prove?
You got to play nice in the sand. I mean, JB Bickerstaff's a great coach. Look who his dad was, Bernie Bickerstaff.
I know. What?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line came down to, Donovan Mitchell did not like Bickerstaff, the way that he was handling certain things. And he's in his option. They're trying to re-sign him. And so it was either you keep Bickerstaff and lose Mitchell, or you keep Mitchell and you whack Bickerstaff. Well, guess what? The latter wins. The player wins. And this is a great way to lead us right into where we're going with the player running an organization with LeBron and this whole three-ring circus with Bronny and that. But, yeah, it's the players, it's the inmates running the asylum right now in the NBA. And, honestly, in a lot of the professional sports, it's the players that are dictating a lot of coaching moves, a lot of front office moves. It's not so much in the others, but in basketball, oh my gosh, it's absolutely stupid how the players and the owners are letting the players dictate a lot of things that are going on.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. And on that note, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break, and I mean quick. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the aforementioned Lakers and their superstar, LeBron James.
I'm a bird stuck in Larry Bird's attic.
And I'm going cuckoo. What the heck?
What you got, Larry? May the best bird win. Rick. You may be a legend on the court, but you're an amateur up here. Heads up, Larry. So get Allstate, save money, and be protected from mayhem, like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
On average, heating and cooling account for around 40% of your energy bills. Introducing the efficient Daikin Fit, a revolutionary HVAC system for ducted homes. While other units use considerable energy turning on and off, the Daikin Fit saves energy through consistent comfort control. It's the perfect fit for homes like yours. See the difference. Feel the benefits. Daikin Fit.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
Guys, if you've been in to check out the changes at Case and Buck's Grub and Pub, stop by, check us out. We've got awesome wings. We got great pizza. We got a steak sandwich, a steak salad. Holy cow. We got games. We've got lotto. We've got cold beer. We've got a little bit of everything. Stop by, check us out. Check out the weekly specials. Barbecue, pork steaks, yum. Harold's Market, thank you, my friends. Check us out. We are waiting for you.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast.
Are we back?
Yeah, we are back. You're watching episode 195. And if you do like our show, we appreciate you guys going ahead and clicking the like, subscribe, anything that you're watching on. Make sure you share it. I don't care if you comment. We love it when you comment because sometimes we read them on the air. Sometimes we actually throw it up on the screen. Sometimes we just throw up in our mouths. Either way, we are... Go ahead.
No, you know what? You know what, though? Does this cost us anything? Does this cost anybody free?
It doesn't cost you anything to view it because we bring all this to you, all this content to you for free. So make sure you guys do that. Also, we're going to be doing, if you follow our YouTube channel, we are putting a lot of sports card breaks on our YouTube channel through Cardaholics Breaks. And we're going to be kind of pushing a little bit of that too, because there is a big market for people who like sports cards. And if you're like me, you enjoy, it's a hobby I picked up as a kid from my dad. And then obviously it's something that I kind of jumped back into here as an adult, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of people who do it. And we'll have some more information out there for you guys. You can check out some of those auctions. You actually still go on the Whatnot app and shop even after those auctions are over and find you some great products as well. So anyway, if you're into that kind of thing, you can always hit us up for some more information, but there'll be more of that to come. As we were talking about before we went to the commercial break,
we're going to talk about that. I thought we were going to talk about the Jello shot record that's being set up in Omaha at the College World Series.
No, Jim, we are not talking about the Jello shot record.
Have you ever heard of that? Before
Jello
I said
shot
that out
record
there,
or a
Drew-
Jello shot?
Okay.
I've
Before
heard
we
of
go,
Jello
LeBron.
shots.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
So there is an
Dude,
establishment in Omaha.
Wait, hang on, Jim. Have you never heard of a Jello shot before?
Yes, I have. I love them actually.
Oh.
But there is an establishment though in Omaha. You know, they host the College World Series. They do a terrific job. The stadium is terrific, but there is a local establishment about 5 blocks away from the field in downtown Omaha. So a bunch of years back, they started this Jello shot tally. So basically, they challenge the teams that are coming in, their fans, to come in and see who can drink the most Jello shots in the week of the College World Series. It is absolutely flipping hysterical.
What is the record right now of Jello shots
I
consumed?
want to say 15,000 was consumed by the Tennessee fans 2 years ago. 15,000 Jello shots.
Okay. So that's incredibly impressive, but it just tells you the folks from Tennessee are a little immune because of the whiskey. I do have a question. Do you drink a Jello shot or do you eat a Jello shot? Oh,
you eat a Jello shot. It's not liquid.
That's right. It's Jello.
Yes, it is. And it's tasty.
Is that one guy who we can't really talk about anymore would say, about Jello because it's really bad things. But anyway, it's I will leave that one alone.
Don't go there.
I'll leave that joke alone.
It is just one of the things in Omaha, and it's on my bucket list to try and get up to the CWS and see that, because they do such a terrific job, and Omaha is such a fantastic city. But it's funny, they have like this daily tweet that goes out, and it's absolutely hysterical to see. I think overall they sell almost 75,000 Jello shots in the 10 days that the College World Series is up there.
Jeez, that is insane.
It's ridiculous. But hey, what a great marketing concept.
Yeah.
I mean, take advantage. I mean, absolutely. Good for them.
Yeah, I don't care.
And
I mean,
speaking of locals, neither do I. Right? Well, every now and then.
You just said you did.
Every now and then I do.
Oh,
but speaking of, in a couple weeks, we are going to finally get the band back together again. And it's okay that I can say this, Chris, correct? I can go ahead and say where we're going to be on July 11th?
Yes, you can say that, Jim.
Okay, thank you. We're going to be at the Mac Bar and Grill up here in South City on July 11th. And then for the 200th show, we believe we're going to be down at La Pachangas, and that will be 2 weeks later on July 26th, I want to say. July 25th.
If we all did our math right, then the day should work out.
Yes.
So we'll leave it at that.
Yes. Yeah, that's if I did the math right. So.
Yeah, if you did the math right, we'll just
where
leave
we're
it.
At. But no, the Mac is a great place, and they've been asking us to come up for the summer and all that to do the show, and we're excited to do it there. And it'll be great to get back to Lapas for the 200th episode, and hopefully we'll get some friends that'll show up at both places. I know Langhauser will be at the Mac. That'll be an absolute given. Which, by the way, he's threatening to sue us for last week's defamation of character for the things we said about him and Mike Nolan, but that's okay.
Hey, that's you guys. You can leave me out of it.
No, it was Jarvis.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't a part of that, so that's okay.
No, that's why you were driving. You were driving and not streaming.
I was not streaming while I was driving. I was just
it
was like an audiobook playing in your ear. All right, so on to stuff that matters in this show, kind of. Our next topic of discussion happens to be one LeBron James and his son, the draft prospect that he is, and all 6 points per game I think he scored at USC last year. And Bronny James doing his workouts. And Jim, I would like for you to go ahead and start on this and let everyone know what's happening.
Do you got the dump button ready to go?
No, you can do
You
whatever
need
you
to
want,
mute some
man.
of this. No. So you want to talk about manipulating a draft? That is exactly what is taking place by the Bronny James camp and his agent. You know, they're saying that they're only letting him go right now. They're not letting him work out for anybody else except for the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. That's it. Nobody else is able to get any access to Bronny James. Rich Paul, who is the CEO of Clutch Sports Group, he's the one that handles, LeBron, handles a lot of the top dudes, is basically saying we're controlling the narrative here. Okay? Yeah. So basically, what he's doing is he is forcing the Lakers' hand in either drafting Bronny 18, I believe they pick in the
17.
18th slot, 17, or the 55th slot in the second round. Okay? Because Rich Paul has so much power with the players, with some of the top players. If anybody else drafts Bronny before the Lakers do, that team is never going to get another top dude that Paul represents. And he's behind the scenes basically spinning that. So you mentioned it when me and you talked about it earlier. Can you say collusion?
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, and let's call it what it is. The Lakers need a lot of help. The Lakers do not need Bronny James. Let's just get that out there right now. I get it that the kid wants to play with his dad. I get it that LeBron wants his son to play with him. I get it. I understand. If he was good and he played 3 years and proved himself on the college level, okay, I got no issue with this whatsoever. He played half a season after a medical issue, and we're not going to ding him for that. But he had a medical issue, only played a half year for USC, averaged 6 points, went to the draft camp, and from my understanding, it wasn't that good. From some people, from top executives that have kind of filtered out there, it was like, we don't even know why he was invited to this. And everybody knows why. He's LeBron's son. But it's absolutely ridiculous how Rich Paul and his group is trying to control this whole narrative to basically force the Lakers, when they have other needs, to draft Bronny James.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is just absolutely insane. And It only just goes even further what we were just talking about with the players having so much control. The problem with the Lakers is they basically just handed LeBron years ago the keys to the entire organization and just said, hey, lock up when you're done. Whenever that is, you just let us know when you're done, and then that's it. I mean, we're talking about holding them hostage. Well, I'll opt out. Well, I'll go somewhere else. I want to play with my son. And it's whoever drafts him, whoever drafts Bronny, is probably going to get LeBron James. Now, only problem with that is LeBron's like, you know what? I don't want to go play for some ranky-dank team. I'm gonna make sure that they play where I want. And LeBron, right now, he runs the Lakers. He will not get any more power anywhere else. Cleveland isn't stupid enough to bring him back. No. And I don't know what the Suns are thinking either, because you already got one narcissistic fool trying to run that franchise, him and his burner account on Twitter. So what are you doing? And how the NBA doesn't step in and do anything about this.
Right.
Everybody's acting like this is fine. Like it's fine. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
No.
This is normal. Rich Paul says this is normal. This is not normal.
It is not normal.
Not for a guy who this is not somebody coming out who is this is not Bronny's dad, can't miss prospect. This is not the same thing. This is a kid who would probably be a career G leaguer unless he develops his game as he goes. And he's one of those guys who's a late bloomer kind of thing, where he gets those two-way contracts, and then next thing you know, he sticks around, then he starts to improve, then all of a sudden he blossoms into a serviceable guy. He isn't even an NBA reserve. He's a healthy scratch / you're the water boy.
That's the other thing too that they're trying to avoid is the two-way contract situation.
Yes.
They are trying every which way imaginable to avoid a two-way contract. Now, the one thing I used to have a lot of respect for Jenny Buss. Doctor, if you watch the Lakers stuff on Netflix or whatever it was on, it was really, really some good stuff. And I had a lot of respect for Jenny Buss. I have no respect for the way that she is running this organization. And if her dad was alive right now,
he's rolling over in his grave.
He's rolling over in his grave because
time.
he would never. I mean, if you watch that show, you saw Magic Johnson and those guys try to do the same thing, and Jerry Buss did not let that happen.
No,
Jerry Buss basically said, "Shut up, go play, or I'll trade you." And
pretty simple.
And now once again it goes back to the inmates are running the asylum, and it's sad to see that, and it's sad to see that LeBron and his agent, who is Bronny's agent now, Rich Paul, manipulating the system to get what LeBron wants.
Well, Paul tells ESPN that LeBron is off of this idea of him having to play with Bronny. If he does, he does. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. What? Everybody knows that's BS.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that's BS. Yes. We can say what we want, but he is really doing everything he can to make sure that it happens. Sorry. Just the way it is.
He's pulling every string possible. Yeah. He's pulling every string possible. And you can say all you want. You can say it till you're blue in the face. Ain't nobody in the United States that follows the NBA that's going to believe a word that's coming out of your mouth right now. And, even Brian Windhorst, who is LeBron's boy on ESPN. I mean, he's not even saying that this is a good thing. He's kind of on the side of everybody else and like, hey, we got to fix this. And Adam Silver has put himself into a major corner. If he allows this to happen and Bronny gets picked in either 17 or 55 by the Lakers, there better be an investigation, because if not, the NBA just got sold out to the Wild Wild West, and this shenanigans will take place. The agents will be running everything, and you might as well just not even have an NBA front office.
Well, the thing is it's kind of one of those things where, again, the kid isn't good enough to be drafted in the first round for sure. And there's plenty of guys who are better than him. Even the guys who they project that aren't there now. There's plenty of guys who project better than Bronny James. He is not high up on the list. I mean, it's absolutely asinine to think that this is a kid who's a can't miss prospect. And EJ Moreno, NBA shenanigans. I know.
Yeah, shocking, Eddie. Shocking.
It's very shocking stuff that this is happening in the NBA. But it only proves how much power that LeBron is actually still wielding. He is running the Lakers. He is their general manager. He is their head coach. Again, who wants to be the coach of LeBron James? Nobody.
You're right. You're coming up to the draft in 10 days, 9 days.
With no coach.
With no coach. What are you doing? I mean, how are you to build a team when you don't have a coach in place? That right there should tell everybody who is running that organization.
And the sad part is, I don't know if many people think that that's a bad thing. I don't. I mean, seriously. Otherwise, there would be more people outraged about it. Well, yeah, that's probably true too.
That's probably very true.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by LeBron wielding this much power. I just think that it's an overreach of a player. It's an overreach of an agent trying to manipulate. You're right. It's a manipulation of the draft all the way around. I look for the Lakers to draft Bronny at 55.
Yeah, that's
I really do.
I'm thinking.
And I think that's their way of trying to keep LeBron in LA, make him happy, let him finish his career there, blah, 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 whatever. Again, it doesn't surprise me. The NBA is stupid, and they allow this crap to happen. So I'm done with the NBA unless you've got any other thing that you want to jump in on.
I am done. Let's talk a little hockey.
There we go. So Stanley Cup playoffs, we got a hometown kid who also attended Chaminade before dropping out of school like a big loser. No, I'm kidding. And then going and playing junior hockey, Matthew Tkachuk, who the Blues should have sent everybody and their sister to Calgary. It was Calgary, wasn't it? His brother plays for Ottawa. Yeah, his brother plays for the Senators. Should have traded everybody for Matthew Tkachuk, but no, we're not going to because Jordan Kyrou skates fast. And was Tkachuk done in 2 years of being with the Panthers? They've made the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years now, and they're on the cusp of winning it. However, not so fast. Not so fast. The arguably best player in the world has decided, I don't really want to get swept, and he did, and the Oilers did not. They took Game 4, and then they took Game 5, and now things are starting to get really interesting. And we actually have a Twitter poll up going right now because this is a big conversation piece right now. That obviously the series is not over, but all the Panthers have to do, number one, is stop making stupid passes, and they will probably win. Okay, but two. It's a pretty simple thing. Like, don't turn over the puck and you win. But they've got to find a way to stop Connor McDavid. And the question is, if the Oilers do end up losing the series, who gets the Conn Smythe trophy? Because Connor McDavid is having the best season we've probably seen out of a guy
since Gretzky.
It's very arguable for sure.
Yeah.
Who's arguably the best player in hockey. So he's at least in the top 3, maybe top 2. And Florida is really good. You can tell, like, early on, I was watching the games. Florida keys on him all the time, but somehow he shook loose. He finally got loose. He didn't. He had 2 assists in Game 2. We said
two in Game 2, and then a goal in 2, and then he decided, okay, we're done playing. No, 1 and 3, and then he goes 2 and 2.
So the point of all this conversation is the Conn Smythe Trophy goes to the player with the most points at the end of the playoffs, and it's traditionally goes to a player on the team that wins. It is not like the NBA Finals award or the Super Bowl MVP because, well, only those have been given to the losers twice. The first NBA Finals MVP was actually given out in 1969 to the late, great Jerry West, who lost in 7 games. I think he averaged about 40 points a game, though. But, McDavid's playing on another level right now because he is right now tied for 5th all-time in postseason points in for one single season in NHL history with 38. Who's he tied with? Gretzky, who had 38. Gretzky, who had 40. Gretzky, who had 43. Mario Lemieux, who had 44. And Wayne Gretzky had 47. I would have to say that that's a pretty good list because it's basically the Great One and Super Mario. He also just set the NHL postseason single season record for assists in a postseason with 32. Who is he ahead of? Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux. So what are we saying here? He's pretty damn good. And how do you give the Conn Smythe Trophy to anybody else but him? And right now,
I agree.
Our Twitter poll agrees with that. 80% of people think that Connor McDavid is going to win a Conn Smythe over Barkov, Bobrovsky, or Aho, or literally anybody else you could throw in there from Florida. Tkachuk.
Here's what I'm going to say right now. If they win tomorrow night and force a Game 7, and Eddie Marino just said when he made the comment, drag them cats back to Edmonton, legend. Yeah, dude's got street cred. If they force Game 7, which I think they're going to, he gets the Conn Smythe without any doubt, especially if he gets a couple assists, another goal. If he gets at least 3 points tomorrow night, yeah, and they go back to Florida for a Saturday night winner take all. Yeah, I mean, the way that they've played the last 2 games, it's a totally different team than what you saw in the first 3 games. And yeah, a lot of it has to do with Florida turning over the puck, making some silly, silly penalties and some bad situations. But I'm going to tell you right now, Connor is the best player in the NHL right now, hands down, no questions asked. And he is going to be the guy for the next 5-6 years. Because remember, dude is only
26.
24.
No. He's like 26, 27
Okay.
now. He's still hockey players play a long time.
Young.
Yeah.
Dude's young. And dude can flat out play. Personally, I hope that Florida wins, because how cool would the narrative now be for Chaminade? You got 2 kids that hung out together their freshman and sophomore years, both winning, professional championships in the same year. That's a pretty cool story for St. Louis sports. And
I agree.
I think it's going to be awesome. But I'm telling you right now, if Edmonton wins on home ice tomorrow night, all bets are off. Here we go. Saturday night will be appointment viewing for Game 7, and that thing is just going to be unbelievable.
Greatest comment ever.
Here we go.
Oilers are looking at drafting his unborn son. Well, you know what? I bet his unborn son is better than Bronny James.
Yes, exactly. There it is. Put the hammer into that one.
Yeah, no kidding. So I actually, when I looked up the numbers, he had 38 points. That was before Game 5. He now has 42 points. So he is 4th place ahead of or behind Wayne and Mario. So he's only 5 away from tying. 5 points away from tying the record. I mean,
so good.
Dude, now wait. His supporting cast is pretty good. Leon Draisaitl is if there was no Connor McDavid in the league, Leon Draisaitl is one of the most talked about players because he's that good. He's that good. You got both those guys that are playing on the same team.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the Oilers are loaded, but so is Florida. I mean, it's just the way it is.
You look at how, though, the Oilers' defense has played over the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what was said after Game 3, but all of a sudden they've decided they're going to get their back check in order. They're not giving up stupid penalties. They're not letting Florida run wild. And plus, too, I mean, you look at the way they're scoring. I mean, if you look at the aggregate scoring for the playoffs, Edmonton should have won this thing at 5. I mean, They scored 8 goals. They scored 8 goals in Game 4. They turn around and score 5. That's 13 goals.
That's hard to do in hockey.
It's very hard to do. It's ridiculous.
And the funny thing about how good McDavid is right now, he is accounted. He's only the 2nd player in NHL history to have a point on over 50% of his team's goals. The other guy? You want to take a guess? It's real easy.
I would say Gretzky, maybe, possibly.
Gretzky. Yeah, it's literally Gretzky. Yeah. For anybody who's new to the show and has never watched the show and knows jack about hockey, so McVey, Wayne Gretzky has the nickname the Great One. He is the only player, I believe the only player in NHL history that when he retired, they retired his number throughout the league, and he instantly went in the Hall of Fame. There's no wait. You're not waiting. You're in the Hall of Fame. Hey, congratulations. You just retired, and you're in the Hall of Fame. There you go. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Jim's got stuff going on. I love it. That's okay. I'll go to me, Jim. It's okay.
No, Ann's here.
Okay.
Ann's
all right.
popping in for a second.
Hey, Ann, how you doing? We're live.
McVey can't even spell NHL. That's
No,
where it's
100%.
going.
Hey, well, he doesn't understand hockey at all. He says soccer on ice. But
That's Kevin that says that.
well, they both do. That just tells you right there.
Yeah,
they're not
story.
here. So good. But the Oilers offense is just been insane. And McDavid is the catalyst behind it. I mean,
without a doubt.
So when you're being mentioned in those in the company of those guys that he was for his postseason run, and a lot of guys are really good in the regular season, and then they go away and hide. Connor McDavid is showing up saying, "Dude, I am here and I'm the best," and that's what you want your best players in your sport to do. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted them to make the cup, because I want to see the best players in the NHL play for what matters the most, and that is the most sought after trophy in all sports. I'll argue that with anybody. It is the trophy to win, and it's the hardest one, I believe, to win of the four major sports.
I will agree with you 100%.
That's a good take right there.
It is. It's one of the best ones you've had in the last 3 months.
Or 3 years, but still.
Or 3 years, but anyway.
Yeah,
you're exactly right. The NHL, what people don't understand is the grind and, just the physical abuse. I mean, hockey is not a sport for just anybody. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you. I get a chance every now and then to run into Cam Jansen. And just you can see how he walks, and just how his body just finally gave up on him. When he got traded out to the Devils after playing for the Blues, and now he's he does a great job on radio. But those guys take a beating, and when you get into the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's a 2-month. I mean, look at it. It's going to be June 20th tomorrow when they play Game 6. Say Edmonton wins and it's forced to Game 7 on Saturday night, June 22nd. These teams started training camp in September. That season is as long of a season as you're ever going to have. And I agree 100%. You win the Stanley Cup championship and you take that cup and you bring it here. Why do you think it was so special for St. Louis to get it, back here 5 years ago? Because it is the most sought after and the hardest championship to win in professional sports.
Absolutely. Now, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the last team to be down 3-0 and win a best-of-7 series, well, it was the Toronto Maple Leafs over those pesky Detroit Red Wings in 1942. And it's the only time it's ever happened.
Those pesky Wings.
The pesky Wings. I don't like them. I never will like them. Sorry. But that's the last time that's happened. And the last time that a team down 3-0 forced a Game 7 was the Red Wings losing to the Maple Leafs in 1945.
And I still don't think, Chris, I don't think that a team has ever come back and won 4 straight, win down 3-0 to win the Stanley Cup.
No, one time.
Okay, one time.
It was the Maple Leafs coming back against the Red Wings in 42.
Okay.
That's it. That is it.
And I'm telling you right now, I think it's going to Game 7. I think 100% it's going to Game 7 Saturday night. And clear, if you're a hockey person, or if you just want to see two teams just flat out get after it, if it gets there on Saturday night, watch it. It's just, I like watching playoff hockey. I'll watch the Blues every now and then, but I really love watching the playoffs, and I think TNT's done a great job. I think ESPN picking it back up has done a super job. I mean, it was funny. Mark Messier's in the studio, and Edmonton got up big, and they were making McDaniel Gretzky references, and Steve Levy goes, "Yeah, I bet you, Messier, you've got Gretzky going right now on text message." He goes, "Oh no, Gretzky texted me and said that Connor is better than me right now." Wow. That's coming from the great one.
Yeah. I mean, now for anybody
that
though,
shows
and
respect.
oh yeah, Wayne Gretzky
That's
is like he goes. I've heard him say he goes. I hope all my records are broken because he's a fan and respects great hockey. And the thing is too, and again, Wayne Gretzky is my favorite hockey player of all time. I mean, the fact that we had him here in St. Louis for a grand total of like 27 games.
Yeah.
Mike Keenan, I want to punch him right in the face still to this day.
Oh, everybody does.
God, what a piece of absolute, yeah. But he's my favorite. But the game of hockey, when Gretzky was putting all these records together, was so different than it is today. Once you started playing like when the Devils became good in the 90s with the dead puck and all that it really changed the way the game is played. So there's not guys who are scoring 200 points anymore for what Connor McDavid's doing now, and what some of these guys, even Sidney Crosby and some of those elite centers now, what they're doing is really special because you're playing a different style of hockey when Wayne Gretzky played. I don't know if Wayne Gretzky could have survived the brutality of the game today. You don't have enforcers. Your forwards are now playing more defense than they've ever played.
Right.
It's a different game. You didn't have to play that kind of defense when you're a forward. Back then, you're there to play offense, man. Let the other guys play defense. So it's a different game. But that tells you right there. If Wayne Gretzky's telling you that he's better, he's probably better. He's saying it in a private text message. Ain't like he's going around and saying it to the media. Yeah, I think McDavid's better than I am, and then going, yeah, he's not. No, he's really.
He's saying it to Max, one of his best friends.
That's right. He's saying it in a private text.
Yeah, but
awesome.
the thing I love about the NHL, and I'm just going to be honest. They fight, which sometimes it's awesome to watch, but the respect that all these guys have for each other.
Oh, yeah.
It is just, you don't see that. You don't see that in baseball. You don't see that in basketball. You don't see that, football. I think you see it a little bit, but I just think these guys respect the heck out of each other. And, that's why it's so much fun to watch. That's why I love the end of series. Those guys, the handshake line. There's nothing better in professional sports than the handshake line at the end of a series, and especially after the Stanley Cup series is over with.
I think the precedent that hockey has for how they conduct themselves with such a brutal sport. Jim, you type so damn loud. I think the brutality of the sport itself, and you mentioned it, how tough it is to play and everything that goes into it from these guys. I mean, again, it's a marathon of a sport. Those guys are beating the hell out of each other. The fighting part, I love this about fighting. It's like there's these rules of combat.
The rules of engagement.
They will look at each other. They will look at each other and say, okay. And it's like, they just know, like, hey, we're going to have to fight each other. Gloves come off and you got to fight. And it doesn't matter if it's like that. You've got to do it. You've got guys who all they do is fight. Those guys are less and less each year because they're trying to get rid of the fighting part. It's never going away. It's just not going away unless they absolutely ban it. My God, there's nothing like a great hocky fight. Absolutely nothing like it.
There's nothing like the game starting with a fight right out of the gate. So say, and they still, and I don't understand why the NHL still does this, but every now and then they'll play back-to-backs. Like every now and then you'll see St. Louis and Chicago play a home and home in back-to-back nights. And something may have happened the night before, and you got two dudes right there in the circle. Okay, we're just going to end it right now, and we're going to start the game with a fight. That's cool. That's just, let's end it right now. Get it out of our system, and then we'll play hockey.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, we got to do this, so let's just do
Eddie
it.
thinks that Keenan would whip you. Wow.
Well, let's address the first part of that. No, I can't imagine fighting on skates.
Fighting on skates, no.
No, okay. Hockey is one of the hardest sports to play because you have to be able to do all of those things that those guys can do with a puck. Floor hockey is fun. I couldn't imagine actually doing it. I could roller skate back in the day, but I don't think I could roller skate that good. And on top of that, they're actually ice skating. And I definitely know that I couldn't do that. So to be able to do all of the stuff that you can do as a hockey, that you have to do as a hockey player, and then do it on ice, no. Then we got to fight.
I hurt myself walking on a sidewalk. Do you want to picture me on ice skates on an ice rink? I would have broken ankles. I would have torn ACLs. Yeah.
Torn meniscus? What?
Torn meniscus. I mean, heck, I tore a meniscus just walking. Let's just call it what it is. I could never imagine that. And it's ridiculous that those dudes can do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's why I have such, and I would say it's probably why they have a lot of respect for each other too.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
Right.
The second part of that is, yeah, Keenan could probably still whip me. He's probably 80, but you know what? I'd pick up a rock and let's make this kind of interesting, okay? And I don't care because if I had the chance, I would still want to get a couple swipes in at Mike Keenan. End of story. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I think he's a freaking jackass to get rid of Wayne Gretzky. Just run him off. We have the greatest player in NHL history.
In the world.
He lives in St. Louis. He still lives in St. Louis. He's Canadian and he likes our country and our state and St. Louis better than his own country. And he still lives here.
He still has a house here.
Yeah.
He still has a house here.
His wife's from St. Louis. Yeah.
Janet Jones.
Yeah.
Terrific Olympic gymnast.
Yeah. From St. Louis.
Pretty good. Yeah. From St. Louis.
Anyway, but no, the handshake line at the end of a series in hockey is the coolest thing. Yes, it really is because I like to always tell our kids, win or lose, you shake their hands, we win with class, we lose with class. And even if we're celebrating a big win, anytime I've ever had a team that started celebrating, we won the district championship in one of the best games I've ever witnessed, let alone coach. And I'm trying to grab my kids and tell them, like, let's go shake their hands.
Right.
Okay. Like, hey, celebration. I'm excited. And then in reality,
you have to mention
go do that.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. I wish somebody, a certain mutual friend of ours, didn't have to make that call. That was correct. It was a correct call, but because we never hear the end of it.
Well, you know what?
We never do.
The tape proves that it was right.
The tape doesn't lie.
Yeah, and the pictures don't lie and everything else. Despite what Janice and Steelville thinks. Sorry, Janice. You can hang out with Karen and talk about why you got cheated. I don't really care. But
here we go.
I'm just telling you, it's just the way it is.
I know.
But yeah, you know what?
Golly.
The Mike Nolan can figure out his way to come on the show sometime. Yeah, I would love to have
I'm gonna
that.
try him. I'm trying to get him to the MAC. Yeah, I doubt it'll happen. It'll happen. Langhauser will be there. Langhauser will come to the MAC.
Yeah, because it's in his backyard, just like he came to the 09. Yeah, that's how everybody is. It's like, I'll come to the show if you do it right here. So yeah, well, I'm let's go back to it. I'm calling it right now. If we go to Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals, it's going to draw so much more media attention because of what McDavid's doing. The NHL is going to want them to go to Game 7. Win or lose after that, they want this to go to 7 because then it is a topic. It is a story. It is news. Now you have the controversy of who gets the Conn Smythe Trophy. Can the Oilers pull it off? The greatest player in the world is facing can he get one more and make it 4 straight and only do it for the second? Gosh. I mean, and then Florida, on the other hand, like somebody said, well, what if you're Florida and you lose this? Do you blow it all up? No.
No,
you're locked. You're locked up. You've
no.
been to the Stanley Cup Finals, which again is the hardest thing to do 2 years in a row. The Florida freaking Panthers.
Yeah.
2 years in a row. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Somebody tell me why. What started this?
Because they've got
Matthew
great
Tkachuk.
And they've got a great coach. They've got a great front office. Their GM is as good as it gets. I mean, yeah. Here's what I'll say. Number one, if it gets to a game 7, I think it will be the most watched Stanley Cup playoff game in television in ratings history.
Wow, that's a hot take.
Well, you got to remember, not very many teams have come back from being down 3-0. You mentioned it. Yeah, not many have been able to pull that off. So I think the eyeballs of the nation, if not another nation, Canada, north to us, I think the TV ratings are going to go through the roof. I agree with you. This is what the NHL wants because they're starting to finally get back to where they were back in the late 90s, early 90s with, when Gratz
before the strike. Before
the strike. They're finally getting back to that point. And they're secretly hoping that Edmonton can force a game 7, and I think they will. I think if Edmonton wins tomorrow night, I think they win the doggone thing. I know it's tough, but the way they've played the last 2 games, and now you're playing in front of a sold out house up in Edmonton, that is as crazy of a home ice advantage that you're ever going to have. Yeah, I think Edmonton, if they win tomorrow night, I'm going to say it. I think they're going to pull this doggone thing off. And you got to remember, they've won 2 down in Florida.
Yes.
So they can win on the road and Florida's arena is no slouch either.
No.
Say that place is as wild as there is in the NHL. But there's just Connor McDavid, I think, just got tired of it. He got tired of people saying that they were going to get swept, and he said, let's bring that cap back to Edmonton. Game on, folks. Here we go.
I'm telling you right now, there's so many narratives that can come out of this. But I will say this: do you think that the entire country of Canada is pulling for Edmonton? Because that's a lot of rivalry. With Calgary and those Canadian teams, there's a lot of hate between those teams. Do they pull for Edmonton?
My question is, when is the last time that the Stanley Cup has been in
93?
Canada?
I believe it's 93. It was the Canadians.
Okay.
I think that's the last. I think that's the last Canadian team to win it.
31 years that the Stanley Cup has not been on Canadian soil. I don't care if Vancouver hates Edmonton. I don't care if Toronto hates them. I don't care if Montreal hates them. Guess what? I think everybody in Canada will be rooting for Edmonton because they still think that Canada is better than the U.S. in hockey. They still think that the cup should be up there. And yeah, I'm telling you right now, that won't surprise me in the least bit if everybody up there is thinking that it's going to be there. And so,
think about it like this, Jim. They invented the sport. They've had NHL teams that have been taken away from them. Now I get it. There's been a lot of reasons why that they lost their teams, but you look at a team like the Quebec Nordiques, they moved to Colorado and win the Stanley Cup right after they moved. They were loaded and they lost their team. Winnipeg lost their team. It goes down to Arizona and they sucked for the last 30 some odd years. And they get a team back. Congratulations. It's just not the same.
Yeah, now Arizona's going to Utah. Shocking.
And I'll touch on that in a second.
Real quick, let me interrupt you. I misspoke. Game 6 is actually Friday night. And then if it does go to a game 7, It will be on Monday night.
Wow. Give them that extra travel time.
Extra travel time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a long way between Florida and Edmonton if nobody knows the mileage.
It is one of the furthest trips ever in Stanley Cup.
I'm pretty sure it is the
history.
furthest.
Yeah.
I don't think New York to Vancouver might have been because they beat Vancouver in 94. So yeah, that might be close to the same. But the crazy part about this, in my opinion, is that all of Canada, I think all of Canada is getting behind this. I always secretly root for Canada after the Blues are out because it's like I kind of feel bad for you guys. You know, we took your sport, and we have more teams down here. I mean, there's hockey in San Jose, and nobody cares. And they definitely didn't care when it was in Arizona. And then Arizona, one of the most pissiest ran franchises ever. Like, let's take a team away from Hartford and put it in Carolina. And obviously the Hurricanes have had a great run, but the Hartford Whaler fan base deserves a team more than anyone in Phoenix ever thought about.
Right.
But they moved the Coyotes. They will be moving next year to Utah. And everybody is wondering what the Utah team was going to be named. What's the nickname? Like the Utes, or they'll come up with something. And there is a poll. The Utah hockey team will be called the Utah Hockey Club. And I am not making this up.
No, you're not.
That's how freaking stupid this is. It is. It burns me. I'm a hockey fan almost as much as I am a baseball or basketball fan. I love hockey more than I love football. And I'm going, our group message, I was kind of belligerent about
I was just going to say, let me preface
very
this.
belligerent about this.
Let me preface this because you've got me and Kevin who like soccer.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, City's losing 2-0.
Yeah,
but when Utah came out and said the Utah Hockey Club, me and Kevin just start lighting it up. Hey, they're finally recognizing that soccer is a sport because you look at it. You look at how some of the teams are named, and it's the, blah, 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 soccer club. And, and so Miller, after dropping about 5,000 F-bombs at all of
I
us,
did not say an F-bomb. Okay, maybe.
Okay.
I was mad, okay?
You were upset. You were a little upset.
Okay, again, you've got a cool mascot, and I get it. It's the Whalers.
They did have the best shirts ever.
You've got the Nordiques. And then you've got this circle that says Utah and then hockey and club, and that's your logo. I'm telling you right now.
What do you say to Washington in the NFL?
Because they should be the Redskins. It should be the Redskins.
It should be. Yeah.
It should be Indians. Yeah. It should be all these teams. Why did he change that? All this another topic,
I will always call the Cleveland Guardians the Cleveland Indians. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I didn't miss an opening day game for like 17, 18 years. I missed, and we were actually talking about this today. I missed Municipal Stadium. It will always be the Indians to me.
Is everybody else in Ohio feel that way?
Yes.
Then why can't they petition to change it?
Because
the powers that be?
The PC police. Let's just put it that way.
Oh gosh.
So you saw it start with Washington, then the trickle-down effect, then you see some of the, the universities like Miami of Ohio. They used to, I forget what they were called originally, but now they're called the Red Hawks. I mean, it's stupid. It's, and when you've got in Cleveland, I'll say this, in Cleveland, they had the backing of the Indians to keep their name. But Major League Baseball and others decided to say, nah, we gotta do this. And now they got the stupidest nickname ever known to man, the Guardians.
They should have done the Spiders. I'd been better with that than the stupid Guardians.
So would I.
Again, Yeah, and I
that is another topic for another show, because I think me and you could go on for another hour about that.
I definitely could, along with the Washington Redskins.
Yes.
But again, stupidest. It's even dumber than the Commanders or Guardians. It's the Utah Hockey Club. Let's all get. Hey, you gonna go watch the hockey club play today? Like, who we playing? The hockey club. What? I mean, I can't wait for those guys who are lifers in hockey. That what would some of these guys who these retired NHL players who are on TV, what would Bernie think about? I want to know what Bernie thinks about this. I want to know what these guys.
I cannot wait.
Go ahead.
The first game on ESPN next year with Messier and PJ Subban and those guys. I cannot wait to hear how they reference this, because it is going to be absolutely priceless.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be. I can only imagine just listening to some of the Blues alumni talk about this.
Oh yeah,
like I wonder what Jamie Rivers is going to say. If he has, I haven't heard.
But I haven't heard either, and I don't think Cam Jansen said anything when I listened to them in the morning a little bit. And yeah, that's going to be. I'm going to have to reach out and see what Cam thinks about that, because I'm sure he's got some very, very poignant conversation about that.
I want to hear a take on this, and we don't have to. You can. If I would love for someone to, you know what, I might make that Twitter poll. I want to thoughts on Utah Hockey Club. God, it's so dumb. It's just dumb.
It is. I agree with you.
Come up with something better, man. But
can I
Utah.
just say this? How many times have you agreed on stuff tonight? Well, this is very disconcerting.
Well, listen, when we do your show in the fall, we agree a lot.
Yeah, we do.
On especially teams that are good and those sort of things. We don't usually agree on this show very much. Usually because there's hot takes that go with it, but yeah.
Well, and there's Jarvis that calls me every name in the book, but that's okay.
It's a family show. He doesn't call you.
It's a family show.
Every name. Yeah.
A few names. A few names.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, we do have a shortened show today. It went an hour and a half. Yeah, shortened show. Hey, we had some major topics here. We had some good stuff talk about the NBA and the NHL. And after we, come back next week, I'm sure I'll have some good stories to talk about. Some of them I can tell on the air. Some of them I probably can't tell on the air about the weekend in Kansas City. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of work, but it'll be fun to see that brand of basketball played. And hopefully,
that, buddy.
Hopefully it all goes really well, and we have a good time out there. So, again, Jim, if you got anything before we go, any shout out any last things?
Just remember, for everybody, keep July 11th on your calendar up here in South City at the Mac Barn and Grill in Mackland. We're going to do the show live up here, and then 2 weeks later, we're going to do the 200th episode. We hope down at La Pachangas. It'll be great to get back down there. I've been kind of missing their fajitas, so it'll be kind of nice to get back down there. They are good. It'll be good to get back down to visit with Joel and everybody down there. And I'm assuming that me and you will start the on the move with the Caravan at some point in August with all that craziness. So a lot of things coming up here, and but yeah, great conversation tonight. And who would have thought that me and you could have filled 94 minutes with NBA and NHL talk?
I did, because I knew it was going to be me and you.
Well, that's
Otherwise,
true.
we wouldn't have done the show. See, I knew we could do it, Jim. I've got faith.
We would have been forced into talking about the Cardinals at some point.
No, you didn't even bring it up.
But Kevin's still out of his mind. They just lost two. They lost a series to Miami, one of the worst teams and he still thinks they're going to win 91. He's out of his mind. But I'm glad we didn't talk Cardinals tonight.
That you just did. So now you totally ruined
32 seconds. I just timed it.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
But moving to stuff that matters in life. But anyway, again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, pretty soon we will be having Rob Logan and his show coming back. Rob's been taking care of some family stuff. He's also, we want Rob to be healthy, so we're gonna get the Nova Nation going back pretty soon.
And his show is terrific. You gotta check it out if you like college hoops. His show is one of the best out there. So once he gets it back up and rolling, make sure you turn into Rob. We've had him on our show, and always great to visit with and hear the East Coast bias on everything and all that. So, can't wait to get him back up and, put his show up here on the Coach's Box platforms.
Yep. And don't forget about the Cartaholics breaks. I'm sure we'll have another. They just kind of pop up. It's kind of when the host EJM likes to throw those out there when he wants to. But we'll have those. You can always check those out on our YouTube channel. You can also go to his Whatnot page, the Cartaholics Breaks Whatnot page, and you can find some great cards on the shop even after the auctions are done. And then you can follow him there on the app, and you get to see that all on YouTube. We provide all that if you just want to sit. A lot of people like to watch them. I like to watch people open packs of cards. I actually like opening cards better myself. But
there you go.
There you go. Gives you stuff to do. All the content's free, as in everything else. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, do all that nonsense, social media, and follow the Coach's Box. You can check some of our cool stuff out on TikTok too. And you can actually watch our show now live on the X. You can watch it on Twitter. We are broadcasting live to Twitter. Didn't know if you knew that, Jim, but we are.
And guess what it costs?
Absolutely nothing.
Free.
That's right, guys.
Free content.
Free. That's what we like to do here. So again, for Jim, for all the guys who couldn't be here because of their obligations to their family and their teams and everything else, appreciate you guys tuning in. Tune in next week for episode 196 of the Coach's Box. We'll see you guys all again next week. Take care then. Bye-bye now.
This episode of the Coach's Box, Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.